Hey everybody, it's Alex from Motoroso.com, your dedicated auto parts marketplace, and we're in studio just gonna make a real quick video to give you some very exciting news, and that is that we are getting a new 2020 C8 mid-engine Corvette, and we have huge plans for this build. So a quick video to share the configuration of the car and our plans for all the mods. Anyone that's been paying any attention to the automotive industry over the last couple of months knows that the C8 Corvette is probably one of the most hotly anticipated cars in the automotive industry in the last decade. And of course, rumors that the Corvette would go to a mid-engine platform have been circulating for over 30 years. But it's finally here, and everybody is eagerly awaiting the first cars to be delivered to the media and to customers. And luckily, we got an allocation for one, and we're very excited to announce that sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we hope to be taking delivery of our vehicle. Now we know that the VIN has already been created. It is in Kentucky, and we're just waiting for it to get loaded on a train and delivered to the dealership that we're gonna be picking it up from. Now, subscribe to the channel here at youtube.com/Motoroso because you're gonna wanna see all of our videos. We're gonna go down to the dealership, take delivery of the car. We're gonna do an initial walk around, initial impressions. We're gonna take it to a dyno. We're gonna get it wrapped, and we have huge plans for the rest of the build project from there. You're gonna wanna catch all of it. Now, Motoroso's colors are black and red, so it's probably not gonna surprise you too much to know that we chose torch red on a black leather interior. Apparently, this is one of the most popular color configurations, and we've had great feedback on our Mustang with the matte white color with the red wheels. People love that look, and we thought about that for the Corvette, but frankly, once we saw that torch red, we just knew we had to have that. Now, we chose the LT2 package, which is right smack dab in the middle of the configuration on the Corvette, and was gonna put us around the mid price range. Now, we also chose, of course, the Z51 Performance Package. Now look, if anybody's getting a Corvette and not getting the Z51 Performance Package, I'm not sure what you're thinking, right? This comes with ELSD, which is the electronic limited slip differential. That's not something you can add in the aftermarket. Really important when you're driving in a performance situation. You want that functionality. So that's probably the #1 reason that we chose that, but it also has additional cooling for the transmission and throughout the whole setup, as well as a bigger brake package. Of course, you want to get the thing slowed down. So super necessary to have that Z51 Performance Package. That was a no-brainer. Now, we did have to think a little bit harder about the Z51 Suspension Package because we know for a fact we're gonna play with the aftermarket suspension. But we decided we would go ahead and get that Magnetic Ride Z51 Performance suspension so that we have something to compare to when we put that aftermarket suspension on the vehicle. Now, a couple of popular options that we did not opt for. First, the GT2 seats, and look, this might have been a mistake. It's about a $2,000 option, has the cool carbon fiber back, but we just went with the regular GT1 seats. We're probably gonna do something aftermarket there as well, maybe Recaro or Sparco, and we'll let you know. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow along as we make all of our build decisions. Now, we also didn't get the front raise system, which memorizes the locations and raises the front end up over speed bumps around town. Now, very popular option, I think only about $1,600, and we just ended up figuring out that that was probably gonna be a little bit of a waste of money because while we will drive this thing, we've got lots of other cars in our stable, so we're probably not gonna make this thing a daily driver, and worrying about speed bumps all over town is just not something we're too worried about. And we're skeptical that it will transfer over with any aftermarket suspension systems, and it might even get in the way of any sort of aftermarket suspension mods, so we wanted to make sure we didn't have that on the car. Now let's talk about the mods that we have planned for this Corvette build, because there are going to be many, and that's because that's who we are. And in case you're not familiar with Motoroso.com, we're a dedicated e-commerce marketplace that carries over 800,000 top name brand products in the automotive aftermarket, sold by vendors that we've hand-selected because they're a trusted business, US-based, and they sell name brand products. And you don't have to worry about any knockoff products, any refurbished sold as new like you might find on other marketplaces. And that's what we do. Now, in the automotive aftermarket, there's not gonna be any parts for this Corvette initially, and that's where we come in, and that's why this build project in particular is gonna be really important. because we're going to be partnering with the brands in this industry to develop all the new parts and accessories for this Corvette for the next 2-3 years. So you're going to want to follow along with everything. And this vehicle is going to be incredible from the factory. So it's going to be hard to improve on what Corvette's already developed, but we're definitely going to be excited about developing all these things, and some of the parts that we have in mind, we're going to go through them now. First and foremost is the exhaust system. This is probably going to be one of the most popular mods that everybody's going to be looking for. And of course, it's going to sound really good from the factory. It's going to be making some pretty sounds, but you know the aftermarket is going to bring the noise, and they're going to really unleash the voice of this new LT2 engine, make it sound much more throaty and exotic. And so we're planning to work with one of the best brands in the industry to develop a custom exhaust system that will then be available for purchase. And we hope, fingers crossed, to have one of the first aftermarket exhaust system sound videos here on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to catch that. And we think this is going to be really interesting because, of course, now that the Corvette is a rear engine platform, it's going to be a very short exhaust system. So there's going to be quite a lot of engineering required to get the necessary resonators and mufflers, and also, of course, meet emission standards if you live in states that require it. So we're going to document that entire process, and it should be really, really interesting. It's also going to get really interesting when you talk about forced induction. And the word on the street is that the Z06 will be twin turbocharged instead of supercharged like the previous versions of the Z06. And that has a lot to do with the fact that it's now that mid-engine placement and space is at a little bit more of a premium. Now, the Z06 is at least 18 to 24 months out. We plan to go develop a turbo kit for this thing if we can, and that's gonna make it really interesting with how we route the exhaust, where we place the turbos, follow along with that whole thing. We have no idea what kind of horse puppies that's gonna make, but we cannot wait to find out, and hopefully do it without going bang. Now, of course, we wouldn't be able to do any of this forced induction or any of these other mods, to be honest, unless we were able to tune the car. Now, we're going to be working with tuning companies to try and figure out, can we crack the ECU and be able to tune the car, keep it running safely, but also getting the peak performance. Now, we know that in the future versions of this LT2 with the Z06 and the ZR1, this thing's going to start cresting 1,000 horsepower almost without question. So certainly that's going to be our target if we get this thing twin turboed and tuned. And with forced induction or not, we're gonna need as much air into this engine as possible. So we're gonna be working with cold air intake manufacturers and high flow filtration systems and funnels to get as much air into the engine as possible. And with all that speed, we're definitely gonna need to slow the thing down. And the Z51 brake package that we got is gonna be great. Maybe there's options for a rotor upgrade, but what we're really hoping to do is develop a carbon ceramic brake system for this thing so it'll function optimally in those really high heat situations like at the racetrack. Now, we've opted for the Z51 magnetic ride performance suspension, but we're also going to want to work with coilover brands to develop aftermarket coilover systems for this vehicle for racing applications. Now, this is going to be definitely an area where people are going to be skeptical that there can be much improvement over this stuff from the factory, but we're going to work really hard and with some of the best brands in the industry. And of course, that's going to allow us to have control over the suspension, like damping controls on rebound and compression, as well as things like ride height so we can get this thing lowered. So follow along with the build with all these performance upgrades, and of course, we're gonna be doing styling upgrades. So expect to see a beautiful set of wheels on this car. We're thinking probably forged centers with carbon fiber barrels, so a blend of carbon and forged on the wheels, and to match, of course, the carbon fiber that'll go in. We'd be doing splitters, probably a hood, side skirts, rear diffuser, and of course, a big spoiler on the thing. So can't wait to develop all of those parts. So follow along with the build, subscribe on the channel, and we can't wait to show you everything that we do with our new C8 Corvette. Thanks for watching.